Alright y'all, welcome back to the Roads Less Traveled. Today I'm going to take a chance and do a video that's a little bit different than I typically do. And there's a good reason behind that. So the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission came out with their 2024-2025 hunting season, I guess, regulation changes recently. And there are some of them that are quite a bit different and quite a bit of change from previous years, and I've seen a lot of misinformation, confusion, and people who don't understand what's going on Facebook. So I decided to make this quick video. You know, maybe you haven't seen the regulation changes yet. I can present them to you here. Also kind of maybe clear up some of the misinformation and also provide some of my thoughts. Now it's important to keep in mind that even though I'm going to be providing information directly off the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission website, whenever the new hunting guidebook comes out for this season, it's important to do your own research and verify in those regulations that these things have taken effect and the nuances of these regulations. So to start things off here, I have this article on the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission website where the Commission sets the 2024-2025 hunting seasons, expands hunting and angling opportunities. This was published on May 17th, 2024. So I'm not going to read all of this stuff. I'm just going to kind of hit the high points, and most of this is going to pertain to deer hunting. So one of the very first things here that caught my attention is the establishment of a buck-only archery deer hunt the first full weekend of September. So the point of this is to allow hunters the opportunity to pursue deer that are still in velvet. And I think this is something that the Game and Fish is trying to do to kind of keep up with other states like Tennessee and, you know, provide some of those opportunities for our residents and potentially non-residents. Being the first week of September, it's going to provide a lot of excitement for folks to get out and go after some velvet deer. There are still going to be some deer in velvet during that time, but I also think there are going to be a lot of people who are disappointed because, you know, deer in Arkansas a lot of times, and depending on where you are, have shed that velvet by September 1st. You know, usually it's that last few days in August up, you know, into the first week of September. The further east you are, they may hold on a little bit longer. It just kind of depends on the region. So, well, I think it's a great thing, and I'm very excited about it, don't get me wrong. I do think there are probably going to be a lot of deer harvested that are freshly shed out of velvet. This other regulation change here is one that I've seen a lot of, I guess, you know, comments on Facebook, either, you know, strongly for or strongly against. And that is the establishment of an alternate firearm season in lieu of Arkansas's traditional muzzleloader season. So basically what they're doing is muzzleloaders are still an option during this alternate season, but hunters are also going to be able to use a modern straight-walled center fire cartridge, 30 caliber or larger. And I think that's a great thing. I really think that today's modern muzzleloaders are so efficient. I mean, people can easily shoot 150, 200 yards with these muzzleloaders. I don't see any reason why a straight-walled cartridge should not be allowed during that time. Now, they're limiting it to non-semi-automatic rifle, which I think is fair. So your lever action and bolt actions are still going to be legal. There have been a lot of people who really do not like this because they think they're doing away with muzzleloaders and they're doing away with the challenge of being a muzzleloader. But honestly, how much of a challenge is muzzleloading? You know, it's I don't really think there's any. I don't think you're really taking away much of a challenge. You know, it's still hunting, but what you are doing is potentially allowing more people to be able to get involved. People who don't have muzzleloaders, people who don't feel like, you know, buying the powder and the bullets and all the other, you know, necessities, who may already have a rifle, they can go hunt. I think this is also great for youth hunters, getting them involved in this extra season, you know, where traditionally they might not have a muzzleloader available to them or might not be comfortable using a muzzleloader. I think that's another great thing about this. I've seen a lot of people, you know, question what rounds are going to be legal, particularly people wondering if the 30-30 is going to be an option. And the way this rule was written is that it has to be a straight-walled centerfire rifle cartridge. So for me, the way I view that is that 30-30 is not a legal option because it is a necked cartridge. Well, the Game and Fish Commission came out and offered some clarification on this very topic. So right here we have this little graphic showing what is legal and what is not legal for this season. So it needs to be a 30 caliber or larger diameter. The extractor grooves are allowed. No shotguns with slugs, and a shoulder is not allowed. So that includes 30-30. 30-30 is not a legal round for this hunt. And they list a few good rounds here: 350 Legend, 360 Buckhammer, 405 Winchester, 444 Marlin, 44 Remington Magnum, 4570 Government. Personally, I'm going to be using 44 Remington Magnum. It's mostly because I already own a couple of those guns and have tons of ammunition, and I really enjoy that round. Back to the original article, I just want to hit on a few things. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail with these because I'm primarily a deer hunter. Bear hunters Northwest Arkansas now the archery quota in Zone 1 will see an increase from 400 to 450. Duck hunters on AGFC WMAs will again be able to use motorized decoys that create motion or simulate wing movement. All waterfowl focused WMAs now have a 25 shot shell limit per hunter. That's an increase of 10 shells for some WMAs. Now I do have a thought on this one. I've dabbled in some duck hunting on some public ground, and I've always thought the 15 shell limit, you know, as a shooter it's kind of annoying, but also I see a lot of the problems that you have on these WMAs with people, you know, slinging steel around, you know, sky blasting, just shooting unnecessarily. So the 15 shell limit I've always thought was a good thing because it limits that unnecessary shooting. It makes people really conserve that ammunition and make sure they are using it wisely. Increasing that to 25, I'm not particularly a big fan of that. I don't really think it's going to change the quality of the hunt, you know, but instead people are probably going to be more liberal with the shots they take. So I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about that one. I do understand, you know, having more ammunition will probably help in, you know, making sure you dispatch some crippled ducks. We don't want cripples getting away, going off and dying somewhere. That defeats the whole purpose of conservation and you know, trying to be a good steward. Another thing to note is that the private land antlerless only modern gun deer hunt for the end of the season has now been removed. And again, this is something I don't really have an opinion of. I've kind of felt that season was kind of redundant anyway. I mean, if you're going to wait to the end of the season just to shoot a doe during those 3 days, I just don't understand the point. I mean, if you want to harvest a doe, the season is plenty long enough. You can do that at any point. There's something here about hunting dogs and GPS. There's no change there, and just a whole lot more things that I'm not going to touch on for this video. They do have the this year's 2024 deer season dates, and I think it's important to note that early buck antlerless, or that early buck velvet archery hunt is September 7th and 9th. 7th through 9th. So again, the first weekend of September and that's going to be Saturday through Monday. And here's just some more. The archery deer season this year, September 28th to February 28th, and more information on season dates. If you want to, verify all these dates, I would recommend going for yourself and looking on AGFC's website. There is one more publication that I wanted to bring up that AGFC posted, and that's the new for this year, 2024-2025. There's a couple things in here that were not mentioned in that previous press release that I want to bring to your attention. And I'm going to scroll through this quickly until we get to the points I want to make. If you want to read this for yourself, I'll link below, along with all the other web pages that we've viewed today. Again, most of this are things that we've already covered. Here's one that we missed. So tree hooks with screw threads not greater than 3/8 inch in diameter are allowed on commission-owned WMAs. So that's a new change. Okay, so for you guys that are duck hunting, you're packing in tree straps to hang your gun from. Those guys deer hunting, you have to carry a strap-on gun or bow hanger, hangers to hang your gear from while you're in the tree. You can now actually use a threaded tree hook as long as it's not greater than 3/8 of an inch in diameter. So that's an important change. They say in here multiple times that trail cameras may be left on WMAs. I don't really understand the point there because that is not a change that has been allowed. The one thing they changed last year is they have to be labeled with your name and phone number, which is very important. The annual bullfrog season has been moved to June 1st. Something to keep in mind. Again, trail cameras may be left on WMAs. It's in here multiple times. Okay, so it's just more of the same here. I recommend going and reading these for yourself. But here at the bottom is what I was really wanting to get to. You see that there? Now, I've seen somebody post this on Facebook saying that this was going to be legal, but I could not find it anywhere until I did some really deep digging, okay? That is, archery equipment that is legal for hunting now includes spears. Okay? You heard that right. Spears. It is now legal to deer hunt with a spear in the state of Arkansas. I don't know why they've hid this so well. Maybe they're trying not to draw a lot of attention to it. But for me, that's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big regulation change, and it's something that I'm very interested in. I can't wait to try to do this. It's something that I've always kind of thought was cool. It's kind of a novelty, an idea, but it could be a reality now, I'm sure there's some folks out there watching that are excited about this as I am, but it just seems so cool. I mean, I probably won't be able to harvest anything with a spear, but I kind of want to try, I mean, I envision a scenario where on some private land, climbing up in a tree, putting a corn pile at the bottom and trying to spear a doe or something, I mean, it just sounds too awesome not to try. So anyways, that's pretty much the end of these regulations. Like I said, I will link to these in this video for y'all guys to check out. I think it's important to make sure you stay up to date with these regulation changes, and check back occasionally with Game of Fish. They're working on getting that 2024-2025 hunting guidebook and regulations out. And a lot of these things we discussed today, you need to make sure and verify when it comes time to hunt that they are legal, and you read all of the definition and the way things are worded within that guidebook to make sure you're doing everything right. And one last thing before we get off here, I just want to remind all of y'all that this is the month to apply for WMA permit hunts. That's June 1 through July 1. So make sure, if you're wanting to apply for some permit hunts on state-owned WMAs, get out there and do it. Don't forget. Don't put it off. Go ahead and get your selection in so that you can have a chance to hunt on a AGFC WMA this season. Guys, I really appreciate y'all checking this out. I know it's a little bit different than the type of video that I typically do, but it's some things that I thought was important to try to shed some light on. Hopefully it helps some folks out there. Hopefully it educated some folks. If you still have some questions, I urge you to reach out to Game and Fish and seek clarification. There's no harm in trying to be the best hunters and the best stewards that we can be. So anyways, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and remember, take the roads less traveled.